Thank you for joining us for our Wedding Trendsetter Interview series that forms part of the International Wedding Trend Report for 2017. Today, I'm lucky enough to be speaking with Mary Phan, the founder of both the Sketchbook Series and Oh So Inspired as Very Merry Events. So after using her sketching skills as both an interior designer and to illustrate design concepts within her event business, she's developed a workshop that aims to teach creative professionals how to use sketching to bring their ideas to life. Welcome, Mary, and thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. So, Mary, I thought perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about your career and what it is that you've done now that you're doing the Sketchbook series.
My career previous to this, I started my career as an interior designer. You talked a little bit about that. And then in 2008, I started my wedding planning and events design business. And then in 2010, 2013, I transitioned to the Sketchbook series. At the time, I was always concepting ideas through sketching because of my degree in design. I was always doing that for clients. And, it didn't dawn on me at the time what a skill that it was or what a niche that it would become. And so when I launched the class, it was purely because I loved that aspect of designing. I loved concepting for people, and I had friends, colleagues nearby that wanted to learn how to sketch. And I said, I wonder if I can teach this. I had no experience teaching. My husband was a teacher at the time, and he encouraged me. And I said, I think there could be a lot of people that wanted to learn. And I wanted to start small with my group of friends and teaching them in the industry. And once we launched the class, it became so apparent what a need it was. And I no longer do event planning or designing now. However, I'm more of a resource to the industry, and I travel and I tour and I do all of those things. So that's now become my career. Education is really strong in terms of making sure that what I do now helps other creative professionals and creative designers be able to help them with their businesses.
Well, Mary, I can really understand and relate to what you're saying because I was exactly the same as you. I was a wedding and event planner for many years and then transitioned into education, and like you, had never, ever trained anyone before in my life. And now we're 12 years down the line with the academy, and that's all I do. And again, it came apparent to me that's what I wanted to do too. So I really understand where you're coming from there. And it's nice to be a resource for the industry that's given me so much. And I'm sure you probably started or feel the same way. So it's nice to hear your background. So obviously you started your career as an interior designer, and you've dabbled in fashion, and you've even staged model homes as well. Mm-hmm. So I was really interested to just talk a little bit about how these skills have helped you in your wedding and event career.
Oh man, tremendously. I feel with a formal background in design, I was able to take a lot of, theory learning. I took classes on graphic design. I took classes on fashion. I took a theater lighting class. I mean, all of these things are visual. So when I started the events, my events planning business, I really didn't realize how key and important these skills were. Being able to have real life experiences in other industries like interior design and in fashion. We always had, boards where if it's a creative field or something that we're pitching an idea to a client, we have to have these mood boards and concepting sketches and renderings because I think it's more of a natural process for me. And as a creative person, it's something that I've always felt. It's almost like a blueprint, like if we talk about planning in the wedding industry, we're doing Excel sheets, right? Because that's the way we plan. Or if maybe there's a software that you use that you plan out your events with timelines. But as a creative person, it's so instrumental to be able to take the ideas and the visions that you have in your mind and be able to put them onto paper. So in my other disciplines in fashion and interiors, those are all the things that from those industries I've been able to bring into the wedding industry, because you are selling an idea. You're selling not only the ideas that you're seeing, but you want to create these one-of-a-kind events for these clients. So really being able to take all those elements, color, textures, design concepts, all of those things to meld them in, I think really applied to what I do now and in the events world. It's very crucial.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
And I expect, as you would have found, as many of us find, our clients aren't necessarily as visual as we are. So being
absolutely.
able to know how to put all of that together, as you say, mood boards and that type of thing, really helps when you're dealing with clients who don't have that ability to visualize things in the same way as we do. So no, it makes perfect sense. So you're not planning and designing events for a living anymore. So how do you stay abreast of what's happening and trending in the world of weddings if you're not in the world of weddings anymore, so to speak?
Well, as much as I'm not doing weddings and events, I'm still very tied into the industry and the
Yes.
trends,
Yeah.
just because I am out and about and I'm traveling across the country and the world to see trends all over, all over the world, really. And so when I meet other creative designers that bring me on board, I'm really looking and choosing those that are trend setting themselves to
Yes.
bring on the
Yeah.
classes. So for me, in every region, there's going to have a different style. California has a different look than Paris. Paris has a different
Absolutely.
look than Texas. So every region has its own trending, style, and what that region is really attracted to.
Yeah.
So I think that helps me to stay on top of the trends, is being able to travel and see every designer from every part of the world, and see and work with them as well. So yeah, that's how
Sounds
I
like
see.
a fantastic job.
Yeah, it is.
Being able to do that, which sort of leads me on to this next question, which obviously back in June of this year, you spoke at one of the top wedding conferences in the world, the Engage Luxury Wedding Business Summit, which most of us would love to go to. Now, I believe you've attended 3 times, twice as a speaker and once as an attendee. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes,
Yeah.
you've done
So
your homework, Kylie.
I have done my homework. You're right. So, what is it about Engage that has this winning formula? I mean, why do people love it so much? What was your experience like?
For me, Engage is Rebecca and Catherine, who are the producers of
Mm,
Engage. They have a way of bringing the top elite designers all over the world together in
yeah.
their conferences. And Rebecca has a background in Disney. I believe both of them do at Disney, at the
Yeah.
corporate offices, and they really think about the experience. They really I mean, I've never seen it before where every corner you turn, there is just something that has been designed and decorated and thought out for you. And I mean, when you come back to your hotel room, there's an amazing gift that's been branded. And they just really take the time to think through everything. And at the elite level of, I mean, if you're talking luxury, they are the
Yeah.
luxury conference. And I really do think it's because they have brought the best of the best in the world. They've thought about the experience, and they almost have. It's in a way they don't have room to make an error because
Yeah.
they are doing the best of the best. So they're at the top of their game, and so I really do think it's knowing who their audience is, and catering to that audience, and knowing that they're bringing the best, and the best has seen the best. So how do you top that? So I think their
Yeah.
conference really does do that.
Well, I mean, what you mentioned there is absolutely key, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's knowing your audience. And
Yeah.
putting on a conference for planners has to be one of the most difficult jobs because, we're all super critical. We've all been doing this job for many, many years. So we're not easily impressed. And they seem to be able to impress over and over again with their ability, their attention to detail, the caliber of their speakers, and just the whole package. And as you said, it's the experience. And that is such an important thing to remember when you're planning events of any description for any of your clients. It is all about the guest experience, and that for me is where they have it over everybody else. So it was interesting to hear your feedback on that. So Mary, trends influence everything around us, and I know as an industry we tend to turn to other industries for our trend inspiration, such as fashion, interior design, architecture, etc. But where do you go for your trend inspiration?
Well, I think I'll speak a little bit about my personal too. Is I
Mm,
have 2 sons, so most of the time, if not traveling, I'm I have my mommy hat on.
Yeah.
So I don't get to go out very often, but where I do get to go, well, at my fingertips is Instagram. I get to connect with everybody,
Yes.
and I'm following everybody that has a voice or says something, right, in the industry. So one is, at my fingertips is Instagram, and I think that's easy for everyone.
Handy tool.
Secondly, I think it's going into interior design stores, going and looking at magazines.
Yeah.
I love retail. I used to do retail merchandising as
Yeah.
well. So going out and seeing, because they're taking things right off the runway. They're taking things and turning it into more of a consumer-based product. But I do feel like they take those trends. Interior design is trending through, fashion,
Yeah.
runways, things that are going to be coming in next season. So I really look at those objects too as a source of inspiration. Definitely interior design, definitely, window displays, shops, stores, walking around and just seeing what's happening, like in those. I think all of those areas are very creative, so they're pulling from different areas. So definitely that.
So it really is all around you at the end of the day, and it's really about
Yeah.
opening your mind, isn't it? And being, there and being open to seeing these things rather than just taking a magazine for what it is or a shop window display for what it is. Look a little bit further, see if there's something that catches your eye, see if there's any pattern to what you're seeing, etc., etc. So yeah, okay. So trends are on a cycle, or they seem to be. They come back around over and over again. So are you seeing any trends in particular that are doing this within the wedding industry that are coming around on that cycle again?
We were kind of doing the light, bright, and airy a lot. I was seeing that a lot. The style was very romantic and soft. In a way, I feel like it's kind of shifting a little bit. Things are becoming a little bit more moody, darker. I do feel that maybe that soft, romantic look is maybe slowly going away. I mean, it won't go away completely, but I do think new imagery is coming in, and that darker side, the darker, more edgy side is coming back in. So,
and that's much more exciting at the end of the day, I think, because you can do so much more with it as well. So interesting to hear that. On the same vein, what are we, apart from that, are we about to really see the last of something in 2017? I mean, things like mason jars and what have you, gone, finished, over and done with. Is there anything else which we're kicking into touch now?
Maybe the blush. And maybe this is more what I hope to not see anymore. Is I think the blush that was trending for so long, that light white pinks. But I hope to see a little bit more color this year. I think towards summer of last year, we started seeing corals and a little bit more brighter pumps of color. So yeah, I mean, I think the pastel-y colors may be trending out, maybe.
Oh, well, I wouldn't be upset if that was to happen. It's nice to have something a little bit punchier and, as you said, edgier as well. So, there's all sorts of different things that are going on at the moment, but textiles obviously play a big part in design. Are you seeing anything coming off the catwalks that might be used within weddings for the next season?
I'm not sure about patterns, but I've been seeing textures like velvet really play into fabrics, more lush. I think people are looking for more texture and density and a little bit more, I don't know how you call it, but I do see it in the linen world. They're bringing in trends, and they're bringing in more, textured linen. I think that's really nice to see. I used to see a lot of ruffles.
Oh, yeah.
But starting to see more velvets and maybe holidays coming up. So that's really pretty. But yeah, I think that, and, speaking of Fashion Week too, is that next year, coming April, I'll be in Milan for the first time.
Nice.
First time ever.
Very nice.
I'm partnering with Italy Inspires. She's putting on not a conference, but a 2-day, very, very special event, April 3rd and April 4th. And it's during Milan Week. So I'm glad you talked about fashion. But it's during Milan Week where they're bringing in Pantone for day 1, and I'm doing a sketch class on day 2. So it's a not to be missed event through Italy Inspires, if anybody's interested in that.
That's very exciting, and congratulations too. It means you're traveling far and wide. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Obviously, people enjoy what you do with the Sketchbook series, so exciting for you. Now, Mary, my last question for you is around design. We have an entire unit in our design course that's dedicated to colour. And I know this is something you talk about in your Sketchbook series. So I was wondering if you could tell us about colour within wedding and event design, and how you can really use it and manipulate it.
Wow.
Big question.
Yeah, big question. So color is very important in any creative work. I do think also, and maybe reverting back to the question of trends, I'm really into black, whites, and golds right now. Something about that. It's a neutral palette, so you'll start to see my branding and my design kind of leading towards that direction because it leaves a little bit more room for color.
Yeah.
In my markers, I use a lot of colors. I have a full array of colors, so we wanted to create a base for any color that you want to mix in. But the black, white, and gold are things that I feel that are more of the anchor, and then putting in like maybe one spot of color.
Yeah.
I really think that's really nice to see. So color is super important to me, and being able to play up those, maybe having a moody table like a black runner and maybe a black and white striped table, but then punching it up with a bunch of colors in the floral pieces. I think that's really nice. And having, gold or rose gold silverware, I think that just makes it look really elegant. And I think it used to be sort of a bad thing to use black in weddings, right? Because that's more safe for
I think we've moved on from that though, haven't we?
We've gone a different direction, but now it's very classy and very
sophisticated, isn't it? Really
sophisticated. Yeah, I think the way you use it and the way that you can punch it up, I really do think that a little goes a long way, and being able to add in those colors with those kind of anchor colors will really make the event look really special. So that's kind of what I'm seeing trending as well.
Well, that's exciting, and that's something to bear in mind. Is don't be afraid to use black, but use it properly. Don't be overpowering with it. Use a spot color to really bring the whole design to life, and that sort of works in quite well with this whole mixed metallic thing we're still seeing being really big for 2017. It's this metallic mixing things up in general, actually. From everything we're seeing, from mixed seating to mixed patterns to mixed metallics, like everything has got this basis of mixing it up and not necessarily going with just one straight theme. So that's quite an interesting thing we're seeing coming through quite heavily for weddings for 2017. So all very good stuff. Well, Mary, that's brought us to the end of the interview. Thank you so much for joining me today and for giving us your insights. I'm very excited to hear that you're going to be in Milan. I wish I was going to be there at the same time to meet you in person, but I think we're already off to Dubai for that particular week. But good luck with that. As I say, thank you very much for taking the time out to chat to me about the trends. And all that it remains for me to say is don't forget to join us next week when we're going to be speaking to Marcy Bloom at the same time. Join us on our YouTube channel.
Thanks, Kylie.
You're welcome.